Howdy folks, welcome to Tiny Tent Show. We have so enjoyed putting together these little shows for you, and we are going to continue to put Tiny Tent Show together as long as we're allowed. That said, we have learned a couple of things over the past couple of weeks, and one of the things we've learned is that in order for all the different artists to record their songs or their bits or whatever it is they're doing, and then to get all of that stuff sent in, and then to review it, and then to stitch it all together and get a final edit, we really needed to change our production schedule. And in order to accomplish that, we needed to take about a week break in order to get everything sorted. But we didn't want to leave you in the lurch. So what we're going to do tonight is we took a deep dive into the archives, and we're going to play a full recording of Centennial Green. That is an original show from the heart and the pen of Warren Nelson. It was commissioned in 2005 by the U.S. Forest Service, and indeed it tells the over and understory of the U.S. Forest Service. I like the understory joke, little arboreal reference for you there. But anyway, what you're about to see is a lively portrait of the struggle to establish public lands and conservation ethics in 19th century America. Also, before we roll the footage, about midway through, you're going to be privy to a conversation that took place just a couple of days ago between Ed Willett and Warren himself. And they will talk about what it took to pull this extraordinary show together. I think you'll find it most entertaining. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we'll be back next week in our standard format. But for now, a wonderful show, Centennial Green.
A sea of leaves. French traveler Alexis de Tocqueville spoke, looking out over the eastern United States he landed in 1830. A sea of leaves. Wandering to the west, down the Ohio River Valley, up into Michigan Territory. He was note-taking for his new book, Democracy in America. We had this grand idea, this democracy in America. We had no idea our expansion would spread so quickly, like fire, in the winds of westering, in the wind throw of individual and commercial freedoms to the west, by what was called manifest destiny. It soon became manifest that our resources were not inexhaustible, and voices were raised in local, regional, and national concern. Look out.
Look forth.
Look into.
Look upon.
Look over. Look up.
Look down.
Look sharp.
Look up to. Look through.
Look out for.
Look out. The act of looking out or keeping a watch.
A watch kept as if something may happen.
An object of care or concern.
A station or place from which a watch is kept.
A person or group keeping a watch.
Well, looky who had an anniversary. 100 years old in the year 2005, the United States Forest Service. And looking ahead to another century of service. Lookers on here at the Pabst Theater, downtown Milwaukee. We are here today to celebrate the Centennial Green of the United States Forest Service, the outfit that looks out for America's national forests and grasslands. Saddle up your Forest Service pony, for we all shall take a ride. 100 years across this country and beyond, pack horse pack with tall tales, told and tied behind, all for a tall tomorrow, green and white.
We're taking down names of those who worked and served before. For the U.S. Forest Service, for the story of the nation's store. Look sharp and jump the ranger in your hat and uniform. Look out, look after, look out for. It was clear cut
19th century. It was cut and get out, run with the money, manifest destiny. It was clear cut with no thought for the future of the country.
Until those with the national mind said it's time,
Time, time, time, time, it's time.
These are national forest lands, we the people stake our claim.
1905, a brand new branch shoots out of the USDA.
Mr. Pinchot passes maps, gives Mr. Roosevelt-Pinchot hand.
And signs his midnight name, double the public land. Join us in this the stand of our Centennial Green.
so many hands on the land for 100 years.
This earth has not seen
Conservation rhymes with nation,
caring for the land and serving people. The national forests and grasslands, it was clear cut dead ahead in the 19th century. It was cut and get out, run with the money, manifest destiny. It was clear cut with no thought for the future of the country.
Until those with the national mind said it's time, time,
Time, time, time.
saddle up before service pony, for we all shall take a ride.
Wood was America's fuel into the middle of the 19th century.
210,000 cords to heat and light Philadelphia in 1820. 17 square miles of forest a year.
And so cut by the hands of man, wood for all wood would do.
Namely, give frame and wall to your house and build a country.
The forest fell, and the nation rose.
Wood up,
Tree down.
Wood up, tree down, cross that sawed hill. Axe marks the spot by sled or raft or railway. Take it away to the sawmill for all that wood would do for you.
Wood would feed the fire, wood would make a fence, wood would frame the barn, wood would lay the plank road,
Wood would bank the canal.
wood would lay the boardwalk,
Wood would span the bridge and
build a store downtown.
What would do for you?
Wood would make black for the blacksmith, charcoal the charcoal.
Wood would open the door to your house.
I would up the steamboat to burn down the river, black locomotive a steam turned by the wheel over the railroad ties, cut into tie cans, stacked in the forest by the millions. 10 cents a piece paid to the tie hats, $1 a day to the lumberjack.
Wood would stick by stack, build a nation. Wood up, tree down, cross that sawed hill. Axe X marks the spots by sled or raft or railway. Take it away to the sawmill. For all that wood would do for you. Wood up, tree down.
In the valley of the Delaware, where the Sawkill River flows, gray towers stand, summer home and mansion of the Pinchots. In Penswood, Sylvania, landmark of a nation's story here, where in the early years of conservation a mission came clear.
On September 24, 1963, President John F. Kennedy dedicated Gray Towers, Milford, Pennsylvania, as a National Historic Landmark. Given to the USDA Forest Service by Gifford Bryce Pinchot, son of Gifford and Cornelia, in honor, and as an environmental center for the Forest Service and the Pinchot Institute of Conservation. On August 11, 1886, a formal tea was held and the first dinner ever at the new Gray Towers, family mansion of James and Mary Pinchot, on the 21st birthday of their eldest son, Gifford, gifted that day with an 1882 edition of Man and Nature by George Perkins Marsh. Wide-eyed James Pinchot could see from his window the Delaware Valley hills that his father Cyril clear-cut, sold down river, and built wealth upon. James Pinchot said to his son, "How would you like to be a forester?" And so was planted the profession of forestry into the soil of a young man's soul, who would become America's first native-born forester, a founder, if there ever was one, of the USDA Forest Service. In 1967, I played Teddy Roosevelt in Medora, North Dakota for 70 straight nights, dressed in the same garb I wear in Centennial Green. I grew this mustache in 1967 to play Teddy Roosevelt, and now I get to play Teddy Roosevelt in Milwaukee's historic Pabst Theater with the same mustache, channeling Teddy Roosevelt. Bully! Bully! I see a stump. I gotta talk. Gifford Pinchot is the man to whom America owes most as regards to the preservation of our natural resources. He was the moving and directing spirit, tireless energy and activity. He was breaking new ground. I feel it justifiable to say that among the many, many public officials who under my administration rendered literally invaluable service to the people of the United States, he stood first. Bully.
The greatest of executives, Theodore Roosevelt, transformed the machinery of government with the flame of his own spirit. He was our leader because he was the better man. He worked more hours at higher speed with wider vision. He trusted us and gave each man his head. It was the use the soul made of his body and his mind that was the essence of his greatness. Life in tremendous volume, unbounded in scope, yet controlled and guided with a disciplined power which made him, as few men have ever been, the captain of his soul.
And in those days it came to pass, these two led the founding of the USDA Forest Service on July 1st, 1905, and together, in the face of the howling western states, doubled the public lands. President Roosevelt felt the heat of a Congress that declared in 1907 that there were to be no more reserves set aside by presidential proclamation.
To this day, the National Forest, new name so in 1907, are drawn in the west to the boundaries set then. The midnight reserves, those last forests were called.
We say timber from the lumber syndicate, and the opponents of the Forest Service turned handsprings in their wrath. Bullet!
Guarding the giant Douglas firs of the Pacific Northwest and California, from the ponderosa pines of the high plateaus of sunny Arizona, scaling the spruces and hardwoods of the Great Lakes states and northern New England, inspecting the tall cypress groves of Louisiana and the southern river bottoms, checking the turpentine yields of the yellow pines of the wide coastal plains, monitoring the birches and maples of the vast Appalachian Range, green and white mountains, watching over all of the 160 great national forests that cover 1/10 of the country's land area that enrich 40 of our states, works a man whose daily deeds are important to hundreds of thousands of Americans. A man whose activities contribute to the welfare of the entire nation. He is one of 3,000 field officers who guard our vast national forests. He is a forest ranger. Taken down names. A man named John D. Guthrie sent Gifford Pinchot a volume of songs of the Forest Rangers on June 15, 1917, most from Forest Service newsletters, and therein was printed, and to a ranger's life hinted.
His trail's not strewn with roses, his life's not the life of a king. His knowledge must equal Jehovah's, he's supposed to know everything. Sheep herders, free users, and cowmen throng his station throughout the day, while his working plan lies unfinished and waiting till they've argued and rode on their way. He has uses and settlement and grazing, improvements and claims which he hates. Though it's hard to get a promotion, he tries, and he waits. But through it all, he rides in his glory, his badge a shine in the sun. With his working plan ever before him in spring sing, somehow I gotta get it all done. Yodelay, 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 yodelay.
Candidate for Ranger exam William Galpin, packing horses at the fairgrounds in Leadville, Colorado. Photo taken by H.A. Blyler, July 24, 1907, from the Forest History Society photographic collection. Look there, away back, another candidate.
So, you want to be a ranger?
Yes, sir.
Well, do you own your own horse?
Why, yes.
Is this one yours?
Yes, that's right.
Well, she looks a little stiff.
Yeah. She just ate. She's stuffed.
Well, you know, son, when the General Land Office of the Interior Department first hired summer rangers in 1898, after the Organic Act of 1897, many of the men were incompetent frauders in their service, dealing lands to timber companies and speculators, and going home in the days to their farm shops and Well, having absolutely no forest knowledge of any kind. That's not you, is it, sir?
No, sir.
Very well, then. Well, are you thoroughly sound and able-bodied, capable of enduring hardships and performing severe labor under trying conditions? Can you take care of yourself and your horse in regions remote from settlement, supplies? Can you build trails and cabins, ride, pack, deal tactfully with all classes of people? Do you know something of land surveying, estimating, scaling, timber, logging, land laws, mining, and livestock business?
I'm sure.
Very well, then, just let me ask you a few dozen extra questions while I watch you pack that horse. Now then, a good 1,100-pound saddle horse doing average work requires how many pounds of oats per day?
Lots.
Now an 800-pound pack mule will, in an emergency without injury, carry how many pounds for 5 miles over trails and slopes not exceeding 20%?
Quite a bit.
A team of heavy draft horses hauling timber from a sawmill to a railroad at a distance of 7.5 miles should be able to make how many round trips per week?
Several.
In a rolling mountain country, there is a summer range which is stocked with 500 mixed cattle. In order to handle this outfit, how many bulls should be put on the range?
1. A big lucky one.
Yes, look, son, a sound log 16 feet long with a top diameter inside bark of 10 inches and a butt diameter of 14 inches contains how many board feet?
Hundreds.
There are how many acres in the northeast quarter? The northeast quarter is section 16.
40.
A field of 10 chains wide and 80 chains long contains how many acres?
80.
Look, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows the answers to these questions. Not even the National Forest History Society. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to pin that badge on you, son. We're going to make you a ranger after one last big test. Cook a meal and eat it.
Over mountains high, timber, down the valleys wide. Let me roam and ride through timber. When the day is done, timber, by the campfire's gleam, let me lie and dream of timber. Tall timbers calling, timber, and the echoes ring. All nature sings a song along the timber trail. Blue shadows falling down the canyon's vale, and the whispering pines entwine along the timber trail. High in the sky, above, the love song of the trees will blend, and when it's way out on the breeze, tall timbers fall and the echoes ring. All nature sings a song along the timber trail. Nature sings a song along the timber trail. The timber trail. Timber. Timber.
Welcome to Tiny Tent Show, and we've got a really amazing guest today, the person who started all of this, who brought us all together, without whom we would not be having this conversation. Here is Warren Nelson in person, almost. Well, it's your image, you know, it's as close as we can come. Hey, I was telling you that I've been watching the Centennial Green movie, and congratulations, man. That was huge effort, huge accomplishment. And, you know, you forget about how many things went into doing that. You just see the finished product, which our viewers are going to see. They've seen about 25 minutes of it now, and then they're going to see the rest of it after. So give me the story. How did it all start out? Who contacted you? Where did the idea come from?
Well, 2005 was the centennial of the United States Forest Service, of course, founded in 1905 by Gifford Pinchot and President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, who was a great conservationist, by the way.
Yeah.
And Gifford Pinchot had been a forester for years out in Pennsylvania. And so he was chosen to start the agency. So there are two people, especially up in our neck of the woods. Susan Nelson with the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest that was based in Ashland at the time. And her husband is Bob Nelson, a great historian from local history here. And then Ann Archers, who is the director of this whole Chequamegon-Nicolet. She was based down in Glidden. So they got the idea because, you know, they got a centennial. Who should we call? Well, you know,
yeah.
how many shows have we all done over the years that celebrate centennials and sesquicentennials? So
right.
They got a hold of me, and I was terribly excited about it because, you know, I'm a lover of the outdoors.
Yeah.
And that must have been 8 or 9 months before the show, I suppose. So then the planning began, and they put up most of the money for it. In fact, I think all the money for the research and writing of it.
Wow.
It started.
Well, that's an amazing thing for two people to take that on, to have that scope. But I got to think that without the Big Top being where it was, and without the history of all the ones that you've done, they probably wouldn't have thought of that. So
right. Well, there was a larger committee.
Yeah.
From people, you know, they probably had a committee of 8 or 10. I wish I could remember all the names right now.
Yeah.
And they were based over like in Minocqua or, you know, Park Falls or around the whole region, you know. But so they had a serious committee that got it going, and so step, of course, was research and getting out and digging into it.
Yeah, so you had some help on the research. I thought that the family trip, I don't know if the people know about that, but tell us about being on the road with your kids to research this.
My wonderful daughter, Medora, was my chief researcher with me and also photo collector when we were on the road. And then we decided, well, you know, first of all, Warren, your assignment is to do 100 years of history of all the national forests east of the Mississippi to the Atlantic Ocean. Can you do that in a 2-hour show? No.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so, no problem.
Don't you have anything hard for me to do?
Got the map out that the Forest Service gave me, and they're all green patches, say National Forest, you know?
Yeah.
And so we got in my old Subaru Forester and started out from Washburn, and then drove down the Mississippi, you know, traveling through the Mark Twain Forest in Hannibal, Missouri, and we went on about a 2,700-mile journey in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I think all the time we carried a tent, we camped too, you know, and we just saw some of the most beautiful national forests, you know. And then every national forest we went to, of course, had their chief ranger and district manager. So we met all those people all along the way, and they gave us guided tours.
Wow.
and provided us with photos and written
Yeah.
information. It was just an incredible trip. It's just an
Boy,
incredible.
yeah. When you do something like that, I know it's incredible at the time, but I just keep thinking of, for your family, what a great uniting experience that was. I mean, that doesn't come up often enough, you know?
Medora was 25 and Rowan was 19.
Ah,
Rowan carried all the heavy stuff, so we called him the mule.
yeah, that's where that started, right? Because when we
Yeah,
were on gigs,
But
it was,
anyway,
yeah.
I think one of the highlights, but two highlights of our long trip, and one of them was to go into North Carolina, into the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is Gifford Pinchot's home.
Mm,
There was a rich man named Vanderbilt who had sort of a castle there, and Pinchot was his private forester. And so,
Wow.
so we got to see that place and just to go through the Great Smoky Mountains, and
yeah.
just incredible, Did camping all along the way, Maggie's Valley and in North Carolina, and all the way out to Durham, and then
Yeah.
then we swung up, towards Pennsylvania, which was the home of Gifford Pinchot and his family, and it was in Gray Towers, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
The place was in Gray Towers. It was on the Delaware River, and we got to stay there, and I got to sit in Gifford Pinchot's chair.
Ah,
His
I
desk.
didn't realize. I didn't know you guys
His
stayed
desk,
there.
and,
Yeah.
Then the former national head of the Eastern region, the Gifford Pinchot Society was there, so we obviously did interviews with him, but that was really a spooky feeling, And I wrote a song in the show called Great Towers, which pretty much
Yeah.
with all that stuff.
Yeah. People hear that. I can't remember if that's yet to come in this broadcast or if it already happened, but there's great images of Great Towers. Can't believe you got to stay there.
Yeah. I think Jack sings that in the show. Yeah.
Yeah. That is so cool. And so that was that was 2 weeks, and then you came back and started writing right away, or what's the process?
Well, I was taking notes all along the way. I always carried I'm an old time fashioned guy carrying a tape recorder, cassette.
How do you pronounce that?
Cassette. On a cassette, but mostly just gathered things, and I got back, and then the pressure's on,
Yeah.
But I'd been there before, so what the songs start to come, and
man, you wrote some great ones.
There's nothing like pressure to make you write. You know that, Ed.
Oh, I do. I wouldn't do Jack without pressure. We're like we're diamonds, We need the pressure to realize our gifts.
And then my friend Chris Thankford really was the one that put the visuals together.
Okay.
Before it was projected by Betty Ferris and before it went to the stage. So she did a lot of work in this thing too. And of course, Carolyn Snee was a coordinator of the whole project and kept all the elements together, But it was just great.
Yeah.
Oh, we debuted at the Big Top, of course, and people came from all over the country to see it. Met a lot of people. Some of them we'd already met when we'd been on the road.
Yeah.
And then the idea started after his successful debut of making it into a film, directed by the two gentlemen who were the national filmmakers for the U.S. Forest Service for the East and West. So
wow,
that planning started, and the Forest Service again put up the money along with the public television station in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And so that thrilled. I mean, obviously that's where the show was performed. And
yeah, what a beautiful theater that is, the Pabst Theater where the filming plays.
What a beauty.
Yeah.
We carried that stupid stuffed horse all the way down there in a trailer.
I'm so glad we did. Yeah, I'm so glad we did bring the horse because I just watched that section where Scott Kester is giving Phil Anich the Forest Service test.
So you want to be a ranger?
Yeah. That was so good. It was really fun to see it again. I don't think a lot of us go back and we don't listen to our own CDs and watch our own movies, but it's really great that it was so well documented. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And of course, we want to just honor and, name Don Pavel and Bruce Bowers, who are no longer with us, and they're front and center in this movie. We lost Don back in 2008, and we lost Mr. Bowers just March 19th of the year we're standing in. So,
yeah,
I had been with them for so long, so many
I know.
Before the tent, and
yeah,
and Mr. Bowers, I bet 1976. So,
wow. Yeah, we've only been working together 26 years, so I'm hoping to get to know you eventually, but I know it takes time.
Well, we'll have to tell that story of how we met someday. Yeah, that's a whole other movie.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah, so then we went down shooting the film and rehearsing it, and it was a big time because the Milwaukee Public Television had the controlled trailer in there with their director sitting in there with all the monitors and everything. And I think our team did I think Mark McGinley that along with Andy. I watched it again too after not watching it for years and years and years, and it was a joy to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah. The way that those kinds of things come together, you keep thinking that it was all planning, and there is a bunch of planning involved, but there's also just the time. These were the people that were here. We followed you, you assembled us, and it's just such a fated meeting, when you see it come together like that. That band of characters in the band.
Well,
I mean,
the band then, that's just a high point, when, Mr. Burnside, now is not the player he was, God bless him. And Mr. Bowers was alive, and Don was alive, and you and Cheryl and Severin and everybody else, there'll never be another, that's the best band I've ever been a part of. And I don't think we'll ever see a band like that around these parts again. And with
you could be right.
With that many years together, which makes it happen.
Yeah, you're right. Did you bring Randy Sabien in on that? Because he was a real.
He was in that show.
Yeah, he was a real firecracker.
He was in that show. Mr. Bowers didn't travel to Milwaukee.
No, he didn't come to Milwaukee. I know he did production stuff, but he didn't come to Milwaukee. Yeah, Randy was in there.
Boy, now see, I think Bruce played it at the tent, I think, but then Randy Sabien, that's right, played it down at the
opera, Pabst Theater. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't played the Pabst Theater in a while. I used to do orchestra stuff down there in Milwaukee when I first came, until I met you, and then I just said goodbye to the orchestras and hello to the string band. I
think we played there twice. We did 30th Star there too.
Oh, that's right.
Before.
Well, you've sure done amazing work, man. Amazing.
And then we got that great invitation to go to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And play in the Jefferson Theater.
Oh, man.
Right on the mall. You remember that?
Oh, I remember it. Well, yeah. I remember that Cheryl Leah didn't have a identity card with Cheryl Leah on it. Leah, because she had her license was Cheryl Willett. And I can't believe now in retrospect, we were able to talk our way into, getting, that would never happen now. Talk about
the funny gig in the
that was
head of the Forest Service came down and introduced the show for us, and Dave Obey, I know, was in the audience, and a bunch of other senators and Congress people, and so that was a It was a real.
Oh, that was a great trip. Remember the we were all set up to go and the fire alarm went off or something. We all had to file out of the theater.
I don't remember that. And of course, I was in a band that warmed up for Tina Turner and, but what's that compared to being on stage with Smokey the Bear? I mean,
I know.
And he would show up at every gig.
I know. That's why you have it on your business card, right? Playing with Smokey the Bear.
Another rule of his appearances was there always had to be a member of the Forest Service with him.
Yeah, I caught that. Well, hey, Warren, congratulations on all this. I know we're going to see a lot more cool shows from you, and but it was really fantastic to look at that again and remember what we did, So, thank you, man.
Adios. Enjoy the show.
The Western National Forests, by strokes of presidents' pens, were given the sweep of designation. Out of lands on the map the federal government already owned. Now the Eastern and Southern National Forests, their story, the other side of the fence, private property, for the most part purchased out of lands the government bought. Boundaries drawn, crazy quilts of private neighbors and public lands. The great story in America of how, with care to, the forests came back. It was William Shands, in a book written in 1977, who called the Eastern National Forests the lands nobody wanted.
Nobody wanted, logged and farmed, left for dead, where the eastern southern forests now green up home instead. From bare bones round, wouldn't slow the rain. Just to look back at these lands and you're seeing there's pain.
In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and man rose it over for its financial worth. And it came to pass for all the hell-roaring logging companies, and it came to pass the profits to the monopolies.
For the lands nobody wanted, it came to pass finally. The Weeks Act,
1911, to protect the watersheds.
Not 1 cent for scenery, the Speaker of the House said.
Now the federal government could lovely piecemeal buy land from logging companies and individuals who had left for the West and left their mess behind, eroded riverbeds and hills. They were running away blind.
Come the eastern floods and western fires, 1910. It seems it takes a tragedy, the reality kicked in. Congress acted on the act of spending, buying lands they had given all away. Now they're buying them back.
On the lands nobody wanted, the Eastern National Forest stands today. These five piece purchase for the millions who come today to stay and play, spend their time away on the White Mountain, on the Green, on the Allegheny, on the Monongahela, on the Mark Twain, on the Shawnee, on the Hoosier, on the Wayne,
On the Huron Manistee,
on the Hiawatha,
On the Ottawa,
On the Chippewa,
on the Superior, on the Shawanee, on the Finger Lakes, on the Bedouin Prairie, on the lands nobody wanted. The Eastern National Forest stands today. These five piece purchase for the millions who come today to stay and play, spend their time away.
Thank you very much, wide awake citizens. Wow.
From that black October Tuesday back in 1929, there were 13 million jobless people standing in a line up against the wall, street on their shoes. They were tramping to the dead end. They got the Great Depression blues. 1933. Now where's nowhere? Where's you're bound to be? Oh, another Roosevelt gets elected. They call him Franklin Delano. He's got a new deal for the country. Time to get him now and go. From the cities and the dust bowls, they were mostly young men. They were put to public service. Now they're back to work again. They were tree troopers, soil soldiers, CCC, Colossal College of Calluses.
The CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, contributions to the national forests were enormous. Mostly young white men ages 18 and 19, some African American and Native American camps. Enrollments, 6 months. Pay, $1 a day. 25 of the 30 a month sent home to families. They were fed, clothed, and housed in tents or cabins. President Roosevelt addressed the Congress on March 21st, 1933.
I propose to create a civilian conservation corps to be used in simple work, not interfering with normal employment, and confining itself to forestry, the prevention of soil erosion, flood control, and similar projects. I call your attention to the fact that this type of work is of definite practical value, not only through the prevention of great present financial loss, but also a means of creating future national wealth.
CCC boys, look what you done. Oh, CCC boys, look what you done. In Roosevelt's Tree Army, 1933 to 1942.
Well, I've gone away, but CCC might not come back at all.
He might not come back, he got a job.
See, I'm gone away, but CCC might not come back till the fall.
6 months or more, he'll be gone.
If I take a good look to it, I might not come back at all.
He may never ever come back home.
But CCC boys, look what you've done.
Look what you've done. Look at what you've done.
Ah, CCC boys, you've done.
Look and see what you've done.
In Roosevelt's Tree Army, 1933 to
1940. Look what you do. Do what you do.
Number of boys who signed up, almost 3.5 million.
Did you know that? Did you know that? Do you remember?
The number of trees the boys planted, between 2 and 3 billion.
Did you know that? Do you remember?
6,459,403 man days fighting fires in the forest. 125,000 miles of brand new roads, rip-rap hillsides and waterways, 89,000 miles of telephone line laid, seeding, siding, planning, clearing, plotting, day by day.
Through the wilderness.
See what you've done.
See what you've done.
In Roosevelt's tree army, it was what was that year again?
It was 1933.
What was it again?
33.
Was it 1933? 1940 and 1940 and Thank you.
Hello, folks. Do you remember?
Look down that lonesome road. Hang down your head and cry.
Lonesome Road, and that phrase, hang down your head and cry, I think applies especially to any person whose carelessness with a fire in the forest results in the destruction of vitally needed timber and valuable watershed lands. Certainly no road is more lonesome and desolate than a road through a burned-over, blackened, and ugly forest.
Look down that lonesome road. Hang down your head and cry.
Remember, friends, only you can prevent forest fires.
Sharing the stage today with our next guest, I have never been more thrilled, ever in my life. Finish the phrase, only you. In the building, Smokey Bear. Smokey.
With the ranger's hat and shovel and a pair of dungarees,
everybody,
you will find him in the forest, always sniffing at the breeze. People stop and pay attention when he tells them to beware, 'cause everybody knows that he's the fire-preventing bear. Smokey the bear, Smokey the bear, growling and a-growling and a sniffing in the air. He can find a fire before it starts to flame. That's why they call him Smokey, that was how he got his name.
Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Here with us today.
You can take a tip from Smokey that there's nothing like a tree, 'cause they're good for kids to climb in and they're beautiful to see. You just have to look around you and you'll find it's not a joke to see what you'd be missing if they all went up and smoked.
Come on, America.
Smokey the bear, Smokey the bear, growling and a-growling and a sniff in the air. He can find a fire before it starts to flame. That's why they call him Smokey, that was how he got his name.
One more verse. Here we go.
If you've ever seen the forest when a fire is running wild, and you love the things within it like a mother loves her child, then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do. Smokey the bear, Smokey the bear, growling and a-growling and a sniff in the air. He can find a fire before it starts to flame. That's why they call him Smokey, that was how he got his name. That's why they call him Smokey, that was how he got his name.
Live at the Pabst Theater. The original, the only one, there's only one, Smokey Bear. This next song I would like to dedicate to the late, great Governor Gaylord Nelson from the state of Wisconsin, founder of a day called Earth Day.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
As a wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay.
Wild child, get thee now into the mountains. Mingle thy step with the sprites and the spirits of the back country, yeah. Keep up singing in the verse that carries over the crossing to the coming course of a time when you won't be there.
Well, roam sweet only home to the grizzly, to all them living wild that could and should not answer man. It's we who wandered and moved into their living room. The least we can do is everything we can to help. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
As a wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
Wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay.
Now the eagle flies, circles high, wide over this land. And it took an act of Congress to protect the wilderness. And we prayers promised this law like the mountain stands.
Well, we've been sweet and strongly told and told and told and scolded by the true friends of this wild earth. Well, face it, so many just don't get it, and I guess they never will. But at least you won't be running into them when you're up and over wilderness hill. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
As a wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
As a wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
As a wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness. Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
As a wilderness.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay as a wilderness.
Put it away.
Put it away, forever stay, let it lay.
So I get a phone call from our executive director at the Big Top, and I got my cell phone on. I'm in the boat. She's saying, Warren, where are you? You're not fishing again, are you? You're supposed to be writing that song on multiple use for the Forest Service. Give me an idea. Multiple use. This is the world's first fish tar. The next time she calls me up, Warren, you're not fishing, are you? Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm writing a song about the National Forest. Meanwhile, my bobber's in the lake, and I'm writing a song about the National Forest. I thought I'd bring this out. It actually made its world debut on Milwaukee Public Television in Outdoor, Wisconsin. But I was going to play it today, but it gets so goofy watching that bobber for 3.5 minutes. But they are going to be for sale. And I can find investors to invest in the fish tour.
Does it come with bait?
Go and practice my fish scales.
Oh, man.
Or like
All
Mark
together now.
Or like Mark McGinley says, can you play me a little tune on that thing? I'm looking for a place so far away, close to home, that I can get to. I myself with anybody who wants to climb in the van and come along. I'm looking for the green patches on the map, say National Forest. It's just a day's drive away. Come on, get on it. Just say go. Tuck me back in the woods undercover, away from the city. Let me roll and float with the waters of a new afternoon. Let me loosen the meadows and the grasslands. Let me hide, ride, hike, bike, swim. Let me hunt, fish, ski, camp, sightsee, whatever I suddenly wish to do. It's just a day's drive away. Just a day's drive away. Just a day's drive away. Anywhere in the USA. Just a day's drive away. Just a day's drive away. Just a day's drive away. Any national forest, just a day's drive away. Just a day's drive away, just say go. Get on it.
Say, can you sing with me a song in the people's key? From the eastern region, sea of leaves, over all to the western sea. Oh, say, can you see the national forest for more than the trees? For the greatest good, for the woods, wildlife, and waters.
Whose woods these are and grasslands, I know. The U.S. is us, all of us, each and every one, by the hands of the Forest Service on the country, the planted promise grow. For the greatest good, for the greatest number, for the longest run.
We who hold and have here now, this time on our hands, green and white, tall or small, leaning towards the light, caring for the land and serving people for the greatest good, for the greatest number, for the longest time.
Oh, we must, like a river, deliver tomorrow today. Keep a tower watch and look out for a future stand we will not see. Conservation, a rhyme with nation, to leave a legacy for the children of the children who fall.
We'll hold and have you now, this time on our hands. Oh, green and white, small and tall, leaning towards the light, caring for the land and serving people for the greatest good, for the greatest number, for the longest time.
Oh, say, can you sing with me a song in the people's key? From the eastern region, Sea of Beans, over all to the western sea. Oh, say, can you see the national forest for more than the trees? For the greatest good, for the greatest number, for the longest
Long live the U.S. Forest Service. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. These are our public lands. This is our story. This is our future. These are our children, now and forever. Bully! Bully! A big top to talk with a Blue Canvas Orchestra and singers. Thanks to Betty Ferris back there with the visuals. Thanks to one and all Yeah! Yeah! Give me that rock and roll tag now. Thank you so much. Wow. We're on TV. We're on TV. We'll see you out back, huh?
Folks, thanks for joining us for this special presentation of Tiny Tent Show. We will see you next week for our virtual new first night celebration. We'll be back to our old tricks. I may bring that bird. Who knows? But we'll be back to our old tricks and featuring many of your and our kick off the summer, here we go favorites. See you next time. Jim and Joy Perry. Brownstone Pharmacy. Star North up there in Cornucopia. Jim and Joanne Collins. Ashland Daily Press. Big Top Friends, the Bujolds, the Manleys, the Sandstroms, and the Roths. Myra Einert. And Movement Matters.